Round 2. Fight!
Hello, everyone. My name's Lumin. With me is Rickery, also known as Parth. Hope you all are doing well today. How are you, Parth?
I'm good. How about you, Lumin?
Doing
I'm
great.
kind of excited. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this game. Uh, get to say some of my thoughts on legendary Sprockitz game. Gets
Oh,
extremely
absolutely.
biased.
Sprockitz is a living legend in the world of board game arena play, as many of you watching are probably aware of. And that's not saying anything bad about Fruity Harris, Zitcob, and FadiB, as we'll cover. They're all amazing competitors in their own right. This is the second group of the Fire to Open, as you might be able to tell from the letter B next to the word group on your screen. How this works, I think, is what our producer will put on the screen right now. There we go. Is we have two divisions, a Fire division and an Ice division. The Fire division playing on Wednesdays, the Ice division playing on Saturdays. The winners of each group will move on to a 4-player semifinals along with the best second place in their division. And that is what these 4 competitors today are fighting for. They are fighting for a win on their own, so they don't have to worry about advancing. And if they are not going to win, they need to get a very high percentage of the first place score.
Yeah.
Did I forget anything?
No, I think Klebo was really close to Zoras in their game. I think there's a 1-point difference, so it's going to be really hard for someone to get the best second place qualifier apart from Klebo.
Right, and you see the asterisk on next to Klebo's name, signifying that he is currently the best second place, kind of by default right now, but we expect that it will be very hard to beat that 153 out of 154. So I think that leads us to the players themselves and their match history. Yep, there it is. So we see that these players have not faced each other very much on Board Game Arena at all. This, I don't think, is too surprising. Do you think it's surprising in any way, Parth?
No, I think Sprockitz has a lot of turn-based game under his belt, and Fruity Harris doesn't play that. Well, I think he's very pretty new on PGA, but Fruity Harris and Sprockitz have played against each other a lot on Snellman. I mean, lot would be 10 matches where Fruity has won 3 of them against Sprockitz.
Okay, yeah. I mean, 10 games on Snellman's actually quite a bit. You get to face quite a diverse layout of opponents in Snellman games. So having 10 matches against each other there, where Sprockitz has been better than Fruity 7 out of 10, that's definitely a useful stat for us. As you mentioned, Sprockit's definitely a turn-based player on Board Game Arena. We will see how much of a struggle this gives him when it comes to live games. And we do have some statistics about Sprockit's amazing play in the last 50 games, and we know everyone's last 50 Board Game Arena games, though the live games show a slightly different story than the turn-based ones, to say the least. So here we have the best factions for each player. I have not really looked at these, Parth, but I assume you have.
Come again, sorry. I think someone was saying that my
What do you
voice
think
is-
about these best factions for everyone?
I think the Sprockets and Fruity Harris, the top 2 factions, Engineers and Darkling Cultist. I think I would expect them to be really good at it because that's kind of the norm on Snellman. Whereas zitcob having Dwarves as their best faction kind of says that he plays on BGA a lot, and especially with the given landscapes, I think Dwarves are really, really good. I mean,
Yeah, I
at
think
least
I have to agree with you there that these best factions definitely represent a difference in typical play. Engineers, Darklings, Cultists, Swarmlings, and Dwarves even get some play on Snellman at least. And you see, especially with FadiB, Chaos Magicians and Nomads get less play at the top level of Snellman that can definitely pull their own weight in live play.
FadiB is the only one who has any red or yellow faction in the top 3, so I think kind of including them into the mix feels like he'll get an edge over everyone else.
I think that would be my strategy if I were FadiB too. It definitely seems like the more you avoid the Snellman factions, the better
Especially
chance.
Grey faction, if they can somehow avoid it. Yeah.
Yep. And here we are going into the game itself. We can now see the setup of the game and I guess do some analysis here. So just very quickly, the scoring rounds are Dwelling with Fire Cult, Trading Post with Air Cult, Stronghold Sanctuary with Fire Cult, Temples with Priests to Coins, Stronghold Sanctuary with Air Cult, and Towns in round 6. And the bonus tiles, we are going to have missing the Dwelling tile, the Stronghold Sanctuary tile, and the 6 Coins tile.
Yeah, so one thing, like my first view just went to the passing bonus tiles. You just have shipping and TP bonus tiles. So kind of low scoring in that area. But I mean, mermaids would be obviously they can exploit the shipping bonus tile. But since that being the only scoring tile, I think it would be highly contested. So
Yeah,
quite interested to see what
and
factions.
I think you have a good point on the shipping tile being a key, the key pass tile in this game, potentially. Mermaids, I think, also have another advantage here in that they can form their towns across a river anytime, leading them to have some really strong round 6 town games at certain points. In terms of bid order, Fruity Harris will be selecting a faction first, followed by zitcob, then FadiB, then Sprockitz, and then we will have our faction auction.
And zitcob Fruity picks Fakirs, which is not that surprising. With that landscape, Fakirs would be really good because there are only 2 money tiles in the passing order.
Mm-hmm.
So the landscape will give them the lack of money which they need.
Yep.
And there is also point. I mean, the passing favors are not that point heavy, so Fakirs can catch up there. Typically, Fakirs would do about 7 to 8 jumps throughout the game, so that's like 32 points. So
Yeah,
that's
I
going to
think
be
you
a
have a good point in terms of Fakirs having good scoring and their coins can lead them to have an advantage here. Now, zitcob picks I think what we're all thinking, Mermaids is the obvious pick here. It's also pointed out in the Twitch chat that the Dwelling Rush is an option for Mermaids. I think part of the Fakirs pick is guessing that a blue faction would get picked here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's pretty cool. There's one thing in the setup that we haven't gotten to yet, and that's that we only have cult bonuses in fire and air. So Fakirs have a natural match to that, but they're not a strong cult faction at all. Do you think we'll get a strong cult faction here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because if mermaids go for a dwelling rush, then they don't have an early temple out. That means that they won't participate in early cult push. And Fakis naturally want to preserve their priests for flying. So I'm pretty sure there should come up one really heavy cult faction. Maybe Oran, maybe cultist.
I agree. Or in cultists. I mean, even Chaos Magicians have
Yeah,
some pretty
Chaos
cool
Magician
fire, I would think.
Fadi has shown that he has really good win rate on that. I'm pretty sure CMs are also a really good choice here.
Right.
But CMs need to be worried about Fakis like aggressively flying to the yellow hexes and trying to stop them. I'm not sure how much it plays a part here, but yeah.
I think you nailed it. And how much it's going to play a part, that's up to the competitors, right? We can't do anything except make guesses. And I don't think either of us consider ourselves to be quite as strong players as these 4, depending on the day. So we will kind of wait and see and then do our analysis afterwards, perhaps.
Yeah, so one more thing to note is engineers. So Fakis and mermaids are more over the west part of the map, and the east part of the map was completely empty. Now, engineers being there, they can start east, so there is much space on the east. Alchemist, okay. Wow,
That
that
is okay. So we have a classic color wheel, but we didn't get a cult-heavy faction. Um,
maybe
thoughts?
engineers are thinking they can take over cults because no one will really participate on it. The alchemist pick is really weird.
It is weird in some ways in that we don't have the Stronghold Sanctuary pass tile, but their favorite pass tile is actually the shipping victory points pass tile, and that is in the game.
Which is also
Um,
mermaid's favorite pastime as well. Which
right.
kind of wow, it's going to be an interesting game.
So we have extremely heavy bidding on the engineers to start this one. I think I'm a little surprised at that personally. I'm not sure I would have bid engineers 9 points better than everyone else. This color wheel is very well known, both on Board Game Arena and on Snellman. Typically, what happens, or a bit of history about Terra Mystica, is that this was the most frequent color wheel played on Snellman, but with Darklings instead of Alchemists and Nomads instead of Fakirs. And it was so ubiquitous that it got the nickname Mend from the faction acronyms. What had happened in that matchup historically is that engineers were super strong. They were the overwhelming favorite. However, more recently, maybe about 2 years ago, if I'm remembering correctly, Darklings started placing one of their opening dwellings way in the west on C1. If Mr. Producer will be able to, there we go. Darklings placing on C1 was a big enough change in this matchup to where Darklings became the favorite in this matchup by denying engineers early leech. And this development is now pretty well known across the competitive landscape. So that being said, we can possibly expect the Alchemist to start C1. That's a totally fine hex for them, as well as something in the east next to Darklings. That being said, what are your takes on how this auction is going? We see the engineers continuing to be bid down.
Engineers have a relatively free game. I mean, they don't have any color neighbors to compete with, and they have their town map pretty perfectly laid out. So I'm, I mean, I don't know. 15 would be a good guess, but I don't know how lower do they go after that. The
Mm-hmm.
alchemists and mermaids are natural opponents to each other in terms of their expansions. So a C1 start to alchemist would definitely motivate mermaids to find a starting point somewhere. Maybe E4 is the natural starting point for mermaids.
Sure, I think that's a good guess.
Yeah,
Do you
so
think the mermaids' landscape, which can extend their presence across a river, do you think that keeps D2 viable for them?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't. I mean, personally, I would rather look at H4 being the next best option for me because since engineer will start at E7, it's getting F4 will give you a pretty good spot for getting a neighbor. It
Yeah,
hinders engineers and also gives you a good town spot.
I
So
agree. And I think if mermaids do indeed go H4, they have the turn order advantage on engineers, and digging F4 and building F4 to blue in round one, that would be devastating for engineers, I think.
mermaids are third in the pick order for the power tile. So since there are three power passing tiles, so I'm pretty sure he'll start at 12. And Fakir doesn't have enough power to take the double spade. So mermaids
Right.
definitely have a good option here to get F4.
I completely agree. Even if there were only two power tiles, the fact that the spade tile is there, I
Yeah.
would expect the spade tile to be taken first.
So I mean, it's mathematically impossible for mermaids to not take the double spade tile.
Right. So we have engineers. Then mermaids were bid down 3 points. Zitcob went with Fakirs, and then Sprockitz goes right to Alchemist. So we have our opening bid values of 30 for fakirs, 27 for mermaids, 16 for engineers, and 30 for alchemists. Fakirs taking the obvious D3 starting placement.
I'm feeling like I'm missing something in seeing what Alchemist can do, which Sprockitz is able to. So
I would say generally the alchemist advantages here are that it's a lower coin setup. The cult coins coming in round 4, only 2 coin pass tiles. Having the shipping tile is pretty nice. Okay, we are flying through these placements. Mermaids taking E4 as you had supposed, but then go to D5 instead of H4. Engineers going their typical E7, F6. Alchemist Sprockitz very quickly chose E5, G5. E5 slightly unexpected.
G5, I was thinking that G5 would make more sense because if you push mermaids to go to D5, then mermaids are going to play on the top half of the map. So it gives a chance for Alchemist to connect through south, which might not be a bad move here.
Mm-hmm.
But here, one thing is mermaids have if they get the shipping bonus tile, they have the dwelling rush option open to them. So
I think it's a pretty clear dwelling rush situation for mermaids here. They're very likely to get the temporary shipping tile and be able to dig C1 and either F2 or C4 and be quite happy.
Yeah, so losing Earth 1 here, if you can get the dwelling rush out, might not be the best, might be quite good here.
Yep.
Everyone else doesn't, so whoever doesn't go dwelling rush this round has to compensate for not having a dwelling passing tile.
Yep, we are going very fast here. Alchemists have picked the priest over the spade. This to me signifies that they will be taking the priest power action and trying to get some dwellings out across the north. Sprockitz could obviously surprise me with this. FadiB is now deciding which power tile he wants. I'm pretty sure he's going to take one of them.
He might as well taken the shipping bonus tile, Sprockitz, I mean, and taken the priest power action and still gotten the dwellings out. It would have hindered mermaids from getting the dwelling rush which they need. So I'm not sure what the plan was there.
I think your point that the temporary shipping blocks mermaids from taking C1 is a very important point. And I am slightly surprised by this, to say the least. Something we didn't have time to cover. Who do you think got the best deal in this auction?
I still think engineers are good.
Okay.
Especially, I mean, in the west part, there's going to be a fight between mermaids and alks, to say the least. But alks also can take the brown hexes from Fakir, which is kind of troubling for Fakirs. Not too much, but I would say engineers got the best one, and second would be Fakirs.
Interesting. Okay. I actually am going to side with some of the Twitch chat here and say that mermaids got the best deal. We were saying how a dwelling rush into round 6 towns was pretty solid for them. And I think only paying 3 points for that privilege, or is it 4? FadiB's at 26, but I expected 27. I might have missed something. Either way, I think mermaids only paying 3 points for this position is amazing.
Yeah, my blue faction history is very bad, so I'm pretty sure I always underestimate or overestimate them. So I do not want to comment anything on the blue faction.
Right. All right. Anything interesting so far? Not really by the moves, but the things that we always watch for in round 1 is who's getting Earth 1, or specifically who's getting left out of Earth 1, and who gets the double dig action.
I think FadiB is deciding whether he wants to get rid of the Earth 1 possibility.
Yeah. And this is certainly what FadiB's thinking about. And nobody has 12 power yet. It's possible FadiB can at least get a trading post first if he wants it. But if he wants to do the dwelling rush, he pretty much has to do it now.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets rid of those 2 workers, I don't think dwelling rush kind of becomes the dwelling rush, which mermaids would be looking for.
Right. You can do what I consider like the half dwelling rush, where you build a trading post and 5 dwellings, but I think that's not as good of an option as going full out here.
Because once he misses out on Earth 1, there's no compensation for all the dwellings he builds. So I would say going dwelling rush, the complete dwelling rush right now would be point efficient.
Right. This is also something that works in Alchemist's favor. Alchemists often have so much to do in the early game that they don't want to worry about fighting for Earth 1. So the fact that mermaids do get a Dwelling Rush in here does ease that aspect of their game.
Agree. It's completely true. But even if so, was Alchemist? So yeah, Alchemist is fourth in the order.
Right.
Yeah, so makes sense. Maybe that might be the reasoning why he purposely didn't block mermaids from getting the Dwelling Rush.
That is a good point. So on the double dig, FadiB with mermaids goes west with both digs instead of northeast to C4, digging that green in the northeast to blue. The Twitch chat doesn't like it. I think I probably don't like it much either. The western green is not important right now. You are eventually going to town up that area, but alchemists aren't really going to contest it. I probably would have claimed the northeast a bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, I would have definitely gone for the top green in order to even force Alchemist in case they want to come for the black. Yeah, so the C4 green production if you can lay out the map. Yeah, so I would have gone for the C4 green and tried to get B5 as well because engineers will most likely come on D6, so that also gives you a good spot for a town there.
Yep, I think that's a pretty sharp observation. In terms of what the rest of the power actions are going to be, kind of assumed once Alchemist took the Priest passing tile, they would be going for the Priest power action here. They will almost certainly go to B3 and A8 this round. I'm not sure if they will try to dig F5, and they probably won't have the power to dig F5 now that I think about it, unless they go Stronghold. Do you think Alchemist can actually open Stronghold and Temple this turn? I haven't done the math.
Yeah, I think they can, but I mean they'll have to sacrifice a priest as workers. But I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, since you have two priests already, you can just advance shipping and a third shipping next round, and you can access B5 from F5.
Yep. I think that's something we are likely to see.
Yeah, so round 3 is SASH round. So having a early dwelling rush with Alks and making your SH or SA in round 3 would be a good choice, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, get points when
Kind
you
of
can.
surprised didn't go for the spade.
Sorry, what was that?
I was kind of surprised Fakis didn't go for the spade before building the temple because Alk wasn't building Alk didn't have a TP up or neither did mermaids. So Earth 1 was definitely for Fakis.
Right. They could have
Right?
guaranteed it for themselves without taking it right there. I think you are correct in saying it is surprising that they did not just take the power spade there. To me, that says they have other plans. I'm not sure what those are.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if they're thinking something because engineers can take the power spade now, but I don't know whether he does either.
The only alternative I can think of for Fakirs is the double temple opening, which is quite viable. I think it's very strong. I think that's the only real reason that zitcob would not go for the single dig is if he prefers to open two temples. With Fakirs in a landscapes game, two temples is my preferred opening when possible.
Or if you want to go wonky, you can have an SH open.
Yes, you can open Sanctuary with Fakirs. It helps you get that range town a lot faster. That's the primary advantage of doing that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too likely here.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite likely. Let's see. I'm kind of curious I'm more curious who gets the spade.
The single dig, yeah. It doesn't look like Fakirs are contesting it, but
No, neither does NG. NG also did contest it. Not sure. Plan is.
Yeah, so in terms of bonus tiles, engineers do have the natural spade pass tile. Fakirs took worker power, which I don't think we actually said, but it's on your screens. And the obvious choice at that point over cult coins.
So my thought was that if engineers could take the power spade, they could get D4, the red next to mermaids, and
Yep.
then if they get one shipping up next round, they can get easy two dwellings out across on the gray on the middle and the gray on the east.
Yep.
So that would have been nice. We'll see.
I do think it makes a lot of sense for engineers to take the power spade here, in addition to their pass spade.
And Fakir's pass with by taking money.
Wow.
I guess they're aiming for the next double dig.
They are. I probably would have done that differently. Do you think there's any competition for the double dig next round if they stretch out a temple here with Air 2?
I do not know. NG might be the only competition they have, but if they are giving NG the spade tile and he does take it this round, it's hard for engineers to have take double dig next round. And Alchemist and Mermaids are nowhere near right now to get the double spade.
Yeah.
So and Fakir's had a free double spade there, and I would agree that double temple start with Air 2 might have been really nice for them, especially since there is a air bonus, a spade bonus coming up, and a round 5 worker bonus.
Yeah.
Dominating air would have been really nice for them.
Yep. All right, so what happens with the rest of this round? Fadi is continuing the dwelling rush in the west, unsurprising. Alchemists do make their temple, but they upgrade in the east with engineers, trading Leech with them there instead of Alchemists trying to be opportunistic in the center. Probably guessing correctly that engineers would go for a second temple here. And taking Earth 2, as is typical for engineers, we will now see Sprockit's advanced ship twice, go up north with some dwellings on free hexes. And this round 1 is going to go more or less as we expected, with the exception of an early Fakir's pass. In terms of a round 2 plan, what do you think? We already expected Fakirs to take the double dig action. I would expect them to place a landscape with one of those digs, personally.
Landscape so early. There are other alternative options also. You can place a dwelling which gives you a good extra worker income. So unless you are planning to start flying with a lot, I would say, since he has a lot of money already, he is getting the 4 coins. He is passed with 8 coins. So going for a second temple after the double dig would be nice.
Yep, I think double dig, second temple is a good plan for Fakirs. What do you think mermaids are doing here? They're passing second. We'll see what pass tile they take. But what do you think a good game plan for mermaids would be?
Pretty sure they need to start holding up the shipping bonus tile. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think denying Alchemist the shipping tile would be...
Denying Alchemist is more important than them getting too much out of it.
Right, and the other options are, I mean, you can take a worker instead of points. Oh!
Wow.
Okay. This
Dwelling
is...
rush followed by TP rush. That sounds quite nice. It is a TP bonus time. To TP round.
Yeah, it sounds super fun. I think it might be a little risky from my own perspective. It's not something I would try, but that's just because I haven't tried it. We see Fruity does take... oh no, that's just the bonus tile action.
Yeah. And as expected, Alchemist start their dwellings.
Yep, I think Alchemist getting the 30-point start and a good pass tile round 2 is nice, even though they have lost out on C1.
One more thing why I don't like landscapes is in case if Fakir tries to take the center brown and center red hex, I think they are good places where you have neighbors, so you want to have dwellings there to kind of upgrade them.
That's a fair point. Having a landscape in the center would absolutely preclude an easy town there without Fire 2.
Exactly.
But this is the Fire 2 Open, so anything is possible.
I'm pretty sure Fire 2 is going to be really popular with the last round being town round. So
that's a good point as well. Fakirs though are maybe the least towny faction in all of Terra Mystica. So that is a disadvantage for them in this setup.
So they have to somehow compensate with flying so much that they don't lose out on the last town round, which will be typically 15 points for at least 2 Alchemist and Mermaids.
Yep. I think both of them have a very high chance of getting 15 scoring points in that last round. There is usually a decision to be made by some faction or other in these late town games, and that's when to take the 2 key town. So typically the 2 key town is a very powerful town when taken early, both for cult scoring and for economy from the cult bonuses. But in this game, with the cult bonuses only spread over 2 tracks on the fire and air tracks, and with towns coming in round 6, do you think the 2 key town is going to get taken this game?
I am frankly confused on that. So I would say I don't know. I mean, the 2 key towns, if you get it early, might boost you in terms of worker incomes, but I'm not sure who benefits from the worker incomes.
Yeah, I mean, engineers and alchemists like the workers, but I agree that in this situation, it might just be better to hold off on it. So we have everyone in round 2 now. Alchemists got the pass spade, which is fun. Fakirs are indeed double digging here. They immediately fly north.
Oh, okay.
Taking B2 and building a landscape there. Unexpected, I would say. They're now fighting with alchemists for town space in the north.
Even apart from that, Alchemist has a spade tile, has a spade bonus tile. So if he wants to, he can take the middle brown hex.
Yep.
I would assume the Fakir would have gone for the middle brown hex faster because it also gives them a free flying space on next to engineers.
Correct. Correct. I am also surprised by the center brown not being taken.
Seems like zitcob has some plans which are above my reasoning so far.
Mm-hmm. So FadiB is going to start building some temples here, trading houses, trading posts. Technically, they're trading houses, but if you call them trading posts, everyone knows what that means. FadiB only has 3 more coins right now. How many trading houses is he going to end with?
I'm actually having some open trading posts might not be a bad thing because since there is a lack of coins here, but I'm not sure how eco strong it is.
Yeah, sacrificing early workers is always questionable in terms of building a Terra Mystica economy. That's one of the reasons an opening like a Dwelling Rush is so strong for those of you who are newer or less experienced with this game. Workers are the backbone of your Terra Mystica economy early, so you rarely want to be making the worker to coin conversion unless you really need it. Using 3 workers on a dig once you've set up your worker economy is usually superior to trading in your workers for coins.
And one thing we haven't still talked about is the cult presence.
Oh yeah, the cult.
The
Alchemists
put a piece there, which actually makes really good sense because after round 3 he gets 2 workers, and Alk is always worker hungry.
Absolutely, I think that's a really nice priest placement there. Mermaids didn't have a priest because they didn't build a temple, and Fakirs used their priest to fly, and engineers still have their priest in the supply.
I was surprised Fakirs went with flying instead of putting a priest on air. It would have given them a free spade, which would have been really nice, and 2 workers later, and 2 coins from the round 4.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. That air bonus with if your Fakirs could be amazing. And when you get a spade cult bonus, you always want to see if there's a good place to put it. But here, Fakirs have that very easy Western red to put that cult spade. And it's too bad that for them that they're not getting that.
Even engineers didn't place them.
What was that?
Even engineers didn't place their priest.
Yeah,
And they went for
engineers are going to have a harder time picking up that cult spade here because it's Fakirs with the extra cult step on the pass tile. So even throwing a priest to air, it's definitely a 3 spot that comes with a worker in round 5 and 2 coins in round 4. So it's still a great 3 spot to have. But engineers might be focused on just trying to guarantee winning Earth or try to get some steps in on water instead. We will see.
Definitely see. It's turning out to be an interesting game. I'm not sure I'm following completely what the Alchemist plan is so far.
I would say that alchemists are likely to take the priest power action, which is still remaining. They'll probably start heading south and also get that northern connection spot on B5. If we could have those hex names really quickly. B5 and H5 is where I would expect them to expand to after taking a power priest, advancing ship one more time. Alchemists are off to a good start. They're at 38 points. They do probably need to convert about, 20, 25 more points to coins across the rest of this game. But I think they are off to a fantastic start here.
I would say it depends on whether next round they build SH or not. SH is Stronghold is really good here.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen Alchemist going for Sanctuary instead of Stronghold, trying to get that water one faster.
So, yeah, I think that's certainly a consideration. Mermaids might be lower on water 1 than they usually are this game, given that they're doing this dwellings into trading posts naturally. Mermaids do pass for the ship victory points tile here.
It's really good here, as we have already said, that it denies Alchemist some of the points and it definitely gives Mermaid some.
Yep.
So Alchemist have a worker income of 6 right now, and they have 2, which gives them 8. So they definitely, after taking a worker power action, they can definitely go for a Sanctuary and a Stronghold next round.
And that would be really amazing, getting water 1 and your Stronghold going.
And definitely Alchemist are point, they need to compensate for not having an inbuilt point mechanic. So I think that would also be really nice for them.
Right. I mean, they have the opposite of an inbuilt point mechanic. They have destructive victory point capabilities, as is one of my favorite phrases to have landed on Board Game Geek forums. Destructive VP capabilities. Great phrase. Okay, so Alchemists, because they have... that... I did not expect them to build a trading post there. It comes with 3 points. It comes with 2 coins, so they're effectively getting 5 points from this trading house, but they are removing a worker income, which is very skeptical with Alchemist.
Engineer SASH plans. Now they need to get 2 more workers to go both.
Yeah, I think trying to get both would have been a really fun plan for Sprockitz here.
They still can. It's just they need to optimize it properly. After building SH, you get 12 power, which kind of you can even do a raw conversion of 3 power to a worker, and you still get it.
Right.
But at that point, if the double speed action is open, that might also be really fascinating.
Yeah, I think the double spade action is something you always want as alchemists, so to pass on it would be a little painful.
So Mermaids has, looking at Mermaids, they have 6 coins and plenty of workers. So I'm pretty sure with the power they get, they're gonna go for the 7 coin action.
Yep, they're actually overcharged here. As the Twitch chat has pointed out, they should have converted a power at least to coins, knowing that Fakirs were most likely building next to them. Okay, so Fadi will try to take coins and advance shipping next round, though I'm not sure with what priest. Still no temple up. Alchemists are at least building the stronghold. I think we agree on that, and maybe going for the sanctuary. Fakirs have kind of their average setup here. Not too many buildings out right now, but they have 2 temples in their landscape, so they have plenty of future income, both for points and coins lined up thanks to those priests. Engineers have already burned down to 6 power, but they have 2 temples, 2 trading posts here. No native worker income. They're just relying on Earth 2 and past tiles right now.
I would say that's kind of. I mean, I would be very skeptical on that. I'm not a good engineers player either, but having no income as engineers,
It's an alternative opening. I'll at least call it that. And not taking water 1, building those trading houses before taking water 1 is a little unusual, to say the least. We might not have a big water 1 fight here.
I am actually thinking next round would be the water one fight. You'll see sanctuaries and water ones.
In this round, okay.
Yeah.
And as we have pointed out, Fadi has a huge economic advantage here. Taking the 7 coins. First action, maybe going for a priest. Next action is fully charged.
I really like Fakir's position here. They clearly have it well. Now let's see if Alchemist actually go for the brown near Fakir's before them.
The center brown, yeah.
Yeah, that might be crucial for Fakirs. Even the center brown and brown on A7, which is a top row.
Yeah, the top row brown. Both of them are definitely being contested by both alchemists and fakirs here. So as fakirs, alchemists take the double dig to line up their northern blacks. Okay.
And fakir take the A7 brown.
Yep. So
That
both
means
choosing to carve out their town space.
Yeah. Fakirs are planning to contest for the last round town.
Yeah, I personally think this is a mistake. I've played fakirs plenty. I'm a big fan of clowning around. And when you go for a bunch of towns as fakirs, you're not giving yourself as many opportunities to just score via priests, because towns need to be adjacent to each other, and priest flights need to be non-adjacent to each other. So the fact, or if fakirs do go for 2 or more towns in round 6, as we might think they are trying to do, this will just reduce their ceiling on priests. So it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm not sure this actually gives them a big advantage.
Yeah, I would agree because the flying actually gives them every time 4 points. So 2 flights and you have kind of compensated.
Right, you've gotten your 8 points, and with the landscape, you get 4 coins in a low coin game.
You're converting 1 worker and 1 priest into 4 points. That's a pretty good conversion.
Yeah, it's probably the best conversion in the game, besides the special case of advanced digging dwarves with a stronghold out. All right. So state of the game, alchemists are getting at least 1 more dwelling down here. They will be building their stronghold first, presumably, to be able to convert power to workers. Mermaids, I would expect Fadi to be taking a power priest here, given that it's available. But instead goes for the temple, and it maybe water 1.
Yeah, I'm thinking he doesn't want to lose out on water 1.
And indeed, you are correct. It's just that there's no great alternative. You could say Air 1 is an okay alternative scoring-wise. Air 1 actually might be more points throughout the game, but you can always take Air 1 later, and you're not guaranteed to be able to take Water 1 later.
Agree. Completely agree on this. Alchemist is the first one to put a priest on air.
I mean, it's ridiculous that it took this long. Fakirs did naturally get that cult spade and put it on A6 in the north.
who was competing for Fakirs? Who was competing for the spade action?
The spade actions were taken by alchemists and
Fakirs, yeah.
yeah.
I was just thinking that Fakir could have placed his priest first and then gone for the spade action.
That's definitely an option that did not happen. Yeah.
Maybe the pressure was on from engineers because then he took the worker action. So probably zitcob was thinking that engineers would take the action because engineers definitely needs to get some dwellings out.
Yes, engineers are certainly lacking the dwellings.
Oh, hard.
I'm really surprised by engineers' play here. They're pretty much giving up on network, I would guess. And having spent 14 points to claim engineers in this matchup, not having network points is going to be hurtful, or it's going to hurt.
And against alchemists, it's alchemists and engineers are probably the two most uh, aggressive factions for competing on networks. So I'm not sure whether Fruity Harris was thinking that and alchemists are naturally going to take networks from them, so they shouldn't
Yeah.
compete on network.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say at this point in the game, it's between mermaids and alchemists, though there could be things that change my opinion later on.
Okay, that might be a way to get towns and get points from flying.
And what's that?
For spaded E2.
Oh yeah, E2, the hex they just dug here. Absolutely. You can do this. Of course, you do want to maximize those priest points. You want to get your towns, but I think if Fakirs end their attempts to town just with this spade connecting up with their temple and the northern town, as long as they stick with 2 towns, I think they will be fine. Going for 3, I think, would be a mistake.
I would agree on that. 2 towns seem to be fine, but to give the reverse view, I have seen Logos go for 3 town for keys.
All right.
Yeah. I do consider him a really good player for the yellow faction.
Okay.
Logos really, yeah.
Go ahead.
Logos is a really good swarms player, so I think he understands. Swarm, yellow and blue are kind of the best neighbors to each other, so knowing the limits of those two are really important. So,
Sure, absolutely. And it just doesn't seem to me like Fakirs would do well to stretch for a 3rd town. But as you say, it might be possible. I'm not an expert on scoring with Fakirs outside of just bombing priests everywhere. So
I would agree that in this particular game, since there is not much of not that many points you get by building a strong town, like building a lot of towns, I would have liked Fakirs to start flying sooner, maybe get a town sooner and start flying around, because if they can push the 32 points to around 40 points, that would be big for them. So right now they have flown to a thrice, so that gives them around 12 points at flying.
Yeah, and we'll just see if there's more that's happening here. Now, engineers are hard digging this green. I think that's a clear sign that their game is not going the direction they want it to go.
Definitely, I think mermaids expected engineers to hard dig and in turn hard dug C3.
Yeah, that happened earlier this round.
Yes, and I was kind of surprised that happened, and then I saw engineers having 5 workers and no place to build dwellings. So I think mermaids expected them to hard dig that green. But it made sense for engineers to hard dig on the east because that gives them a free 1 shipping dwelling without requiring any digs.
Yeah, I think they need to have at least 2 dwellings here to end this round, or their economy is just going to be nothing.
I agree, completely agree on that. And one more thing is, I would have been fine with engineers if not having a eco now and trying to boost eco in the next few rounds if there were good points for the eco, like a dwelling round or a TP round or something. But right now they have SASH, Temple, and then again SASH. So
Yeah, these endgame round scorings are not great. They're really underwhelming, except for the town round.
they
So
are underwhelming for both engine. I mean, for Alchemist, they are definitely underwhelming. I'm not sure what the plan for Alchemist is. They
oh,
haven't
I
talked
think they're doing fine actually. They have another dwelling to place this round. They have 8 power that's just hanging out. They've gotten 3 spots on the Colts in
that
a
is very
situation.
surprising. I
Yeah,
would
I think.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for 2 key town in this game because since
Yeah, I think engineers missed out on an opportunity here of being perhaps the most cult-friendly faction out of all of these 4. These
I
are just
definitely agree. I was under the expectation that engineer would go for that since seeing that there is no really cult heavy factions in this game and
right. Worker bonuses and an early spade from the cults. It seemed like engineers could have been able to take advantage of that, and that we have not seen materialize.
and another thing is since this might actually turn out to be a low point game, cult points are going to be a really key factor in deciding who wins it.
Sure. Yeah. Um, how do we think Fadi is doing? Hasn't gotten a lot of points this round. Has taken the temple, built 2 trading houses. How do you think he's setting up his game here?
I think he has a really strong eco going, but I'm pretty sure he's banking on the last round to turn this game around completely. But since he already has 50 points and he has a shipping bonus, I don't think I'm pretty sure. I think he's in a really good spot.
Yeah, I agree. It is. There's a lot of things going Mermaid's way here. Without Earth 1, they're taking advantage of the track. They're really going to hammer this scoring track. They got 10 points in round 1, 6 points in round 2. They're going to get at least 1 more temple next round, I would presume, for Air 1. They might build their stronghold in round 5, and they might get 3 towns in round 6. There's a lot of points incoming for Mermaids on this scoring track.
I really like Fadi's position here. I was expecting Fakis to be more flying friendly.
Yeah, they can usually be. I shouldn't say can usually. They can be more spread out at this point in the game, and being spread out early as fakirs just to lock down some of their key hexes is a big deal. The fact that this center brown is just lying fallow is certainly unexpected.
Yeah, so I think the center brown might still remain open because Alchemist doesn't have any intention, like he doesn't have any benefit of taking that. So I would say
Well,
Alchemist.
yeah, just because engineers can hit the green, but there is a chance that if Sprockitz plays his cards right, that after advancing digging might have a very long round upcoming. You can maybe sneak into the brown and the green after engineers have passed. Engineers are not going to have long rounds here. They don't have many resources.
Agreed.
I think alchemists have a chance to build a sanctuary town in the middle without a bridge.
And engineers take shipping.
Uh,
That denies Alchemist a ton of points and also gives them few points, which I am pretty sure they need right now.
oh, they absolutely need that tile. You're correct. Fruity Harris looks by the actions to be pivoting to trying to steal all the past tile points that he can.
As we said in the earlier in this, shipping is probably the most contested passing tile
Mhm.
here,
Yep.
and I'm kind of looking forward as to how the next round plays out because I'm pretty sure Fadi is eyeing the shipping bonus tile because once he goes into the SASH round, once he makes SH, he gets a free shipping advance. So that would really give him more points if he has the shipping bonus tile. So,
Yep. I think that's a good point.
but to his disadvantage, the shipping bonus tile is given to the player which is exactly after him.
hmm Yeah, setting yourself up in order of passing the round before is an idea that takes a lot of time to really start executing well on.
Exactly. I've tried doing that a bunch of times, but yeah, it's much harder than how you make. And
It's certainly an art.
Alchemist puts another priest on fire.
Yeah, they collected 3 cult workers at the end of round 3. You're alchemist. You're going into round 4 with 10 workers. It should be noted that alchemist's landscape allows them to not spend priests on one advance for both tracks, both shipping and digging. So with one priest, Sprockitz has enough priests to get fully advanced at the end of this round, and I would personally expect that to happen.
I would as well, and I think the current thought process is getting water one wouldn't be a
Mm-hmm.
bad idea.
Looks like it's a temple coming in to do that, but
Temple, and next round would be the temple converted to an essay, which also would be really nice.
yep.
Mermaids is in a good position, having insane eco and money.
Yeah, I mean, what we should be talking about is the 7 coins action. Mermaids have now gotten that twice in the first 4 rounds. Um, to me, I was telling you this when we were preparing for this game. The 7 coins action is a huge deal in terms of winning Terra Mystica games. One, I have jumped a lot in my asynchronous rating in the last few months, and I was telling you, I don't think I've done that much different. I've just been trying to hammer that 7 coins action, and I mean, look half a round more in advance than I usually do. And that can make a huge difference in games. Just getting the coins action over and over again kind of automatically makes you the favorite in my eyes. Alchemists, this game with so many workers incoming, it might not be enough for FadiB this game to overtake a successful cult alchemists game.
That's certainly I was certainly not expecting Alchemist to be the cult heavy faction in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We see engineers taking a temple here, probably water one, maybe air one.
He's really low on points, and his eco is not doing that well. So yeah, taking Earth is really good, but Earth didn't give him any cult bonuses so far. I mean, apart from the one priest, 2 coins, which he's gonna get.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if he might have focused on other cults, as we already said that he should have been the cult faction in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I am not really sure how engineers compensate for it.
Yeah, and we see FadiB declining a 4 for 3 here. I would probably accept that leech. It's the middle of round 4. You've got so many resources remaining. Unless FadiB's thinking about a very early pass, I don't think that declining would be correct here.
I would agree. I would have also taken it. I'm not sure what Foggy is planning. Maybe he has calculated that he has enough resources for whatever he has in mind. But taking that in the rare case that he needed to do one more action in order to get the passing tile which he wanted, that power might have come really handy.
Right, and just even if FadiB wanted to pass early, you can still accept that leech and like get 7 coins again. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
I completely agree. So, not sure what Fadi has in mind. Maybe he thinks that the game might be too close to call to accept that leech.
Perhaps, though, to all of you who are newer at this game, the negative points for leech are a good thing. The more points you lose on leech, the more likely you are to win, unless you're just accepting stupid 7 for 6s in round 6.
Yeah, I would say I don't mind going up to for four leech for 3 is definitely a good one. 5 leech is also
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, literally, you can accept anything early. I mean, I would accept 10 for 9 in round 1
Oh,
every
round
time.
one for sure. Round one, you give me anything, I'll go down till. That's one of the things where I don't want to go down till one digit auctions is because you can't leech as much as you're getting.
Right,
If you get
right.
0.
Yep, if you're at 0 points, you're limited to 0 for 1.
I think one
Fun.
more thing to note here is I think Mermaid is the only faction who can pre-hog the fire too and still not make towns. So it might serve to be a really good thing for them because last round I think there'll be a fight for fire too.
I think that's a wonderful point. They do have that advantage in not worrying about when they take fire too. Let's see here. Sprockitz, did Sprockitz advance dig yet? Not yet. I am still expecting Sprockitz to advance dig once, maybe 2 worker dig to place the landscape down, and then use that landscape to advance on both, and then start digging for a worker at a time.
Yeah, I think he is in a good spot to make at least 3 towns in the last round.
Yeah.
I still think that he can even make the towns without fire too if he wants to be that point efficient. And
Yeah, now that you mention it, Sprockets probably doesn't need Fire 2 to make 3 towns. One thing I don't like about what Sprockets has done is Sprockets just converts 16 victory points to 16 coins here. That's hilarious.
that just shows what he has in plan before he wants to finish this round.
Yeah, I would personally not do that. It maybe gives away a little too much, but it's certainly funny. No doubt that those are good conversions, but
maybe he's just like asserting dominance at this point. Like you can think whatever you want, but I have this much things in plan.
Yeah, I mean, you can cut off Fakirs from getting east just by taking a yellow or digging the red, like digging one of them one more dig away.
Rest of Fakirs.
Yeah, you're getting 3 towns. Where do you think those 3 towns are?
I would think 2 towns on either side of Engineers East and 1 town where he has the one town top.
Okay, so you think that Sprockets will be heading even farther east for their last town, and I think that makes a lot of sense instead of trying to force one into the center or the south.
Yeah, because they are easy digs for him, or rather, I would have done that. I am not sure. I'm definitely not on Sprocket's level, so maybe he has something else in mind. Yeah, I don't think he's planning to play it that destructively, but since I'm pretty sure he's dominating cults, he's getting good amount of points last round.
I think he's the clear favorite for winning network as well.
Yeah, he's definitely the biggest contender right now. Because engineers would have been the most toughest competition for network, but they have been not having a great game so far.
Yep. Let's see.
Okay.
So Fruity Past, which opens up the ship VP tile. Sorry, I think I ran over you there.
No, continue.
So we will see what the next plans are for who gets that shipping pass tile next round. Obviously, there's competition between mermaids and alchemists for it.
I think Alchemist should have passed for it, but I do completely agree on Sprocket's decision to take the blue because engineers will be eyeing it for another town.
Yep. This I think might be maybe not the final blow to engineers' chances in this game, but it's certainly not good for them.
Though I would like to point out that there is a possibility of engineers farming the town near H by taking H4 and placing their landscape there. That's a unusual town spot, but it does work.
Oh, that is clever. Yeah, engineers can absolutely dig that southern blue with their land bridge ability, land bridge over to the other gray in the south, and then make another bridge over to their existing dwelling in the east. That's clever.
And as we said, that's a really nice spot for the next town. So Alchemist does go there.
Yep. Into the east, Alchemist continuing to get those dwellings staying on the board.
This has been a really unusual Alchemist game because I would always bank on passing bonus tiles to get me a bit of edge over the competition. But Sprockets, I'm not sure if he has gotten any passing bonus tile till now. Everyone has been insistent on not giving him the passing bonus tile.
Yeah, and I think that is the only thing keeping Alchemists from running away with this game completely. Their econ is great, their hexes are great, Their
Right now
upgrades
they're
are finished.
Yeah, right now they're getting north of 24 points even on cards. So
Right, their cult game is ridiculous for normal alchemists, and they're now making 2 priests around. They don't need their priests for upgrading. So, I mean, already Sprockitz needs to convert 1 priest to a worker or a single cult bump because he's already overproducing. Fakirs, in round 5, get the double dig, but don't fly with it.
and I'm not sure if engineers take the engineers really needed it.
Yeah, engineers are in a rough spot here. Do we think fakirs or mermaids can catch alchemists here? Do we think FadiB is in a good spot for this?
Not really sure. Because Alchemist is, as you said, he's definitely running away with it right now. FadiB has air one and water one. I'm not sure how much it helps him.
Yeah, FadiB
He
needs
has to capitalize on the shipping bonus tile this round to actually get a
was
bunch of
just going to say exactly that. Yeah. Do we think that FadiB can also pull off the Sanctuary?
Sanctuary, I mean, I would say Sanctuary is a good idea because he definitely needs fire too. So getting a Sanctuary this round and getting the 5 points, which is equivalent, which is more than if he advances shipping once at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You see Air 1 from Alchemist. Nice. So
yep.
I don't think he's planning on getting fire too. I think he can form towns, all 7 powered towns.
Yep.
I'd still be fine with it. I think that would be a really point efficient game from them.
Yeah, it just seems so clean here. If these 2 eastern towns take up 4 hexes each, Sprockitz already has 6 other hexes. There's 14 hexes right there. I'm not sure he needs more than 14 this game to win network. It's really not a big contest by engineers. Mermaids are a little short on hexes, it looks like right now, and fakirs are not going to be able to fully get east to their liking.
I would kind of agree, but I'm not sure. So since fakirs are there in the game with landscapes, they have been proven that they are a big force for competing on networks. But
That's
so
true.
far in the game, I was expecting fakirs to have a bit more eco, like a few more TPs and all out on dwellings. So I'm not sure if they'll compete, but I would look out for them if they're trying to compete. But I'm pretty sure at the end, Alchemist will take the network.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on is that in these round 6 town games, Fire 2 is still good even if you're able to make 7 power towns. The reason is you want to get the best town tiles as soon as you can. Given that so many of them are just going to be taken in this last round, getting Fire 2 can be worth a few points just in better quality of towns that you get.
Oh, that's a really nice point. I didn't think of it in that way.
Yeah, so that is still a reason why Alchemists might want Fire 2. I do think Air 1 is the better play for them, given that they're probably only going to be 1 action away from a couple of these towns to start round 6. Just a single dig in the southeast tier, probably making 1 of his trading houses this round in the north, so he'll just be a trading house away up north. So I think Alchemists probably don't need it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alchemists don't need it now, at the least, because he definitely needs to get his TPs out in order to build more dwellings. So
Yep. Cannot do one without the other. Absolutely. So Fruity Harris gets the 7 coins this round. It was not taken immediately. Kind of strange in my opinion.
for sure, strange. So I was actually expecting Fakirs to take the coin action, because I was thinking he'll need to make a few TPs and then dwellings again.
Right.
But he went for the double dig action, which kind of screwed up engineer's plans for taking the double dig because he wanted the double dig too, so that he can possibly form another town somewhere.
Mm-hmm. FadiB taking the single dig action with an excess of workers, I don't think I like that very much.
I agree. I think he could have made either an essay or he could have advanced shipping. I mean,
Yeah,
had
or just built
and
or done a hard dig instead of spending 4 power on it.
yeah, definitely, I would have done the same.
So we're seeing FadiB have a great opening, but maybe not capitalize on this economy as much. Maybe I shouldn't say a great opening. We thought that the Eastern second dig would have been better than the Southwestern one.
I would agree there.
Let's see. So Fakirs need to make one more trading post probably to profit well enough off of this trading post pass tile. Mermaids are probably advancing ship one more time, even if they are only getting points out of it.
I would say right now, as we said, FadiB needs to really capitalize on the shipping bonus style. So
Yeah,
definitely,
in terms of straight math, a hard dig would have been better. Using those 4 power as 4 coins and
exactly. That's
3 workers
so
on a dig is just straight better than having to convert workers to coins here if FadiB wants to build a dwelling or two or
yeah, definitely. I completely agree there. So right now one thing I was expecting was sanctuary. Okay, yeah. So I was expecting him to create a sanctuary for fire too, but that
Yep.
also didn't happen. Probably it's going to the next round for that.
Yep. Not sure how useful that will end up being. Fruity Harris has still plenty of
So
points, is making a town right now.
okay, I definitely think his game is not going as he planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a little underwhelming here. I mean, I think so. One thing I want to bring up is that as good as these players are, these are like the best players in the world. It's incredibly rare to find a live table of this quality or better. So let's just appreciate that right now.
I really I'm since competing in the season one, I know the like for a new player, the pressure it brings is insane. I'm pretty sure these guys are veterans and but they do feel a bit of pressure. And I would like to ask what went wrong with it. Was it
Sorry, with who?
the what do you think might engineers have done to be at a better position than they are right now?
I mean,
I,
that's a
I,
good question. I think they were just overbid here. In this color wheel, they're no longer the dominant faction after the rise of Western Darklings, though that didn't happen here, admittedly. They just lost out on the digs. They
I
probably just needed to get more digs. Engineers are so good economically with other things that they can focus on digs more than other factions and just have an explosive game.
Oh, we see a town from Alchemist.
Do we? Oh
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Is it the 2 cult town? Getting
Yes,
an extra
yes.
worker, securing up those hexes. I think
This
for
has this
five
game is insane by Sprockitz.
yeah, I mean Sprocket still has so many resources.
He has so many resources. He's getting 4 workers for next round. I think he wanted the workers for the next round, and I mean he's securing card. He's just secured all the cards for him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, Sprockitz is not going to compete on air anymore. I mean, I would hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3
I,
cards, network, and a bunch of points for next round.
it's going to be hard to beat Sprockets here. I think Sprockets is looking at 165 if I have to make a quick guess.
That would be a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
165 is okay, some people might say. And is right behind Mermaids this round in terms of pass order. So Alchemists will just pass for that ship tile, I think, whenever Mermaids are ready to pass.
And I really liked Alchemist's decision on not even trying to compete anything on the west side of the map because since it's heavily crowded already, and he just swiftly made a few dwellings and again returned to east where it was completely empty and tourist taking whenever he wanted.
Yep, for sure. So I think it's time to start looking at the end game points before it's too late and we don't want to scramble on that in round 6. now that the game has slowed down a little. So alchemists are looking at, what is that, 24 to 28 cult points, and 18 network. So that's 46 endgame points right there. Fakirs and mermaids are fighting for second on network, it would look like. Fakirs currently have 12 structures down and 2 to 4 hexes, depending on how aggressive alchemists get digging out that set of Eastern Yellows. Engineers look to be last on network. Engineers are not going to win more than a cult. It looks like 12 cult victory points for them. So Fruity Harris does not have many points incoming. Fakirs look to have, what is that, 6 cult points, I would estimate, in the end game. And if we split mermaids and Fakirs network-wise at 9 apiece, that leaves 15 endgame points for Fakirs. Mermaids look also to have around 6 cult points and 9 network points, so we'll say 12 to 18 endgame points for them. And where each faction is on the scoring track, knowing that 3 towns are coming in for mermaids, 1 for engineers, 2 for Fakirs, maybe 3, and 2 for alchemists. I think this is clearly alchemist's game when we break it down like that.
Yeah, so I would be curious. I would say mermaid is a definite contender for a second spot here. But do you think that it's going to be as I'm not having positive feeling, but do you think it's going to be as close as Claybo and Soras? Pretty
Oh,
sure.
153 to 154? No. I think this is going to be a 20-point margin. I think the second place player is going to be maybe in the 140s. And Sprockitz, as I said, I don't see a reason to give him less than 160 here.
Yeah, and I one more thing to note, Mermaid definitely has to pass before Alex, so Alex is getting 9 more points in the
Yeah, part of the greatness of that 2 cult town is that Sprockit's got 7 power. That's almost infinite delaying with single worker digs as alchemists.
Do you think Sprockets takes the yellow from Fakir, like single digs it or something, the yellow on G4?
So at this point, there's no big reason to take that hex away. It might actually be better for alchemists to leave that yellow there so that mermaids have less of a chance of scoring in the end game. It really depends on who you see as the bigger competitor. Mermaids with the extra town coming in next round. I guess it's still possible for Fakirs to get 3 towns, but Fakirs do have a fair bit of resources, but have burned down to 3 already. I did not notice that.
Oh, I also did not notice that. Wow, okay. I am thinking he's just gonna hard dig one of the black or the gray on the west to make the town.
Yeah, and did take the spade past tile, so we'll only need 1 hard dig. So it does look to be the 3-town plan. It'll be Fire 2, Sanctuary in the center, a hard dig with a bonus tile dig combined to get that 6 power town in the west, and then a 6 power town in the north is only a trading house away.
Okay, so Fakir has approximately 30 points, 30 to 30, more than 30 points coming next round.
So that said, do you think Sprockets should turn that Eastern Yellow black on G4, or just hard for them to get?
I think it's going to be a while until Fakirs target that, but I'm not sure. I think he's I mean, alchemists are definitely fine not doing that. I'm pretty sure alchemists are taking the network regardless.
Right.
So let's see what he does. I don't expect him to be aggressive in that sense because I'm pretty sure it doesn't come down to that, but if it comes down to him missing out 1 worker to do something really crucial, that might be like putting an axe on your own foot.
That's true. And I think your point that he can wait out and see where the points are coming in is a good one. It's going to take a while for Fakirs to even try for G4 in the east, so can definitely wait and see and get your towns first.
So Fadi and Fakis both are having 3 towns, that is 15 points and around 30 more points in towns.
Mm-hmm.
So not 30, but around 25. So that's like 40 points. Both of them are getting around 40 points. They're already at mermaids are already at 120. Both mermaid and fakirs.
Yep, and that's not counting the points they get from the buildings themselves,
Exactly.
the dwellings for fakirs or trading houses for mermaids.
Yeah. So I think the
Engineers have the other scoring tile, though. So neither fakirs nor mermaids have the points coming in on the last pass.
that is a good point. But okay. And there goes the first fire too.
Not surprising.
Definitely not. And I would assume mermaids follows the trend.
Yep, we'll see what towns zitcob takes here. The range town is a reasonable first one, though I actually think I might have taken a priest town first.
I would have taken the priest town because mermaids is not gonna go for any more shipping towns. I think no one is gonna go for shipping town because alchemist alchemist is already at max, and mermaids doesn't wanna waste the crucial points.
Yep. FadiB getting the third 7 coins action of the game. That's pretty cool. Sprockitz, Temple Water 3.
Oh boy.
There goes the water cult. If we didn't think Sprockitz was winning before, this probably puts him ahead of FadiB.
Yeah. I mean that's one benefit of taking two key town before everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You can even dominate on the cult.
Mm-hmm.
Fadi couldn't go up on the cult because he didn't have a town.
Yep, that is correct. And always something you need to watch out for when you are racing.
We are near town. I'm pretty sure he's aiming for it.
Sorry, say again.
We have the weird engineer town bottom.
Oh yes, your guess is going to be cool and correct. Fruity needs what is that? 6 resources to get the town in the east, and then 2 bridges.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe Fruity won't have enough resources for this.
He needs 4 workers for bridges and 2 workers, which I'm assuming are the priest for TPs.
Yeah, but also needs 1 more TP in the southern town. There's a lot of work.
I'm assuming one of the towns will give him enough resources.
Okay, maybe, let's see. So we calculated that worker need as 7. So the 3 priests and then just a coin town would solve it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Given that both worker towns are already gone.
Yeah. He can go for fire too, but I don't think he wants to. Definitely needs those points from the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And both fakirs and mermaids are gonna cross 100 soon.
Yeah,
I would have expected fakirs to take, as you said, getting the early fire 2 implies that you need to take your towns properly. I was expecting fakirs to take something else than the range, as you said.
Yeah. As we have said, the range tile is not as contested here. So fakirs have resources for their third town. FadiB taking the 3 pointiest towns here, I think, is a good play. FadiB doesn't have that much more to do. FadiB needs to, I think, third place on network is more or less guaranteed over engineers, though racing fakirs for second, I haven't counted right now. It looks like fakirs have 1 more building on board, and they both have 3 dwellings to place.
So cool.
I think Fakir's next move is to take this Eastern Yellow. So this think from Sprockitz is probably analyzing who he wants to have more network points, Fakirs or Mermaids. Mermaids have done pretty well here on the town scoring, even though, as we said, FadiB is really running out of points now. So I would expect Sprockitz to just leave this yellow here so that Fakirs can overtake Mermaids in network.
I would agree. And I also think that mermaids taking both the priest towns actually help them try to get a better position on the cults because engineers and fakirs are not competing for it.
Yes, there are some very cheap points on the cult track right now. Fakirs shouldn't be putting a priest to fire right now to defend their spot. It's 2 points and 2 power versus 4 points and 2 coins by flying.
Yeah.
So it's just straight up better for Fakirs to spend the priests on flying.
I would have expected him to secure his flying positions first before taking it, but
This town, yeah.
because no one is close to getting the town, engineers have to have 2 more turns before getting the town at the very least.
Yeah. I think that's very solid analysis there. This was rushed. Unless zitcob feels like he needs the power for some reason, but it's just better to get that flight in and get those coins immediately back.
I think zitcob was thinking that the more point efficient town might go away, but failed to realize that
Nobody could.
nobody could.
Exactly.
And one more thing, why this would be really bad for Fakirs is because he needs the 2 coins before he flies. So now he'll have to sacrifice a power to get the 2 coins so that he can fly and then get back the 2 coins.
Right. And it does look like zitcob can manage 2 more flights, but not 3. So actually, this Eastern Yellow is not going to matter just because zitcob doesn't have enough resources, and then wouldn't be able to place a 9th dwelling because of only having dwelling.
I think then your point that he can use that the best use of the priest would be to place it on fire and secure a second position.
I think the priest is needed to be a worker, but I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. No, that was my bad. But
I didn't mention it. I was just looking at the resources straight up, so that's my bad. Well, FadiB is 45 points ahead of Sprockitz here. Now 49 points ahead of Sprockitz.
If you count just the cult points, he gets back around 20 of them there. He has 1 more town coming up and point efficient buildings as well.
Right. So even though it looks like a huge margin right now, it will be quickly made up. All right. So we now know zitcob's final score, more or less. We'll have 1 more flight here for 6 points.
I would say yes.
So 122 on the track, and let's give him 4, 6, 10. Let's give him 8 to 10 points on, well, now 9 points or less on cults. So with 6, 9 is 15, passing for 0. Looks like zitcob's going to end at about 131 plus network. Do we think FadiB can get down to 3 buildings?
I definitely don't think so.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it with the resources left. So Fakirs are looking at 12 network points.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking whether can engineers beat them in network.
Let's see. Engineers do have both their big buildings up. So the problem with engineers is, do they have the hexes for it?
They have hexes at 3 shipping.
How many though? It's just 3 hexes?
Yeah. But again, they don't have the workers to support it.
Right.
What is the score for engineers? Because he has 3 bridges up, which is 9 points. He has a TP bonus style, which I'm assuming is 12 points.
On passing.
Yeah. And he has Air 1 also, which will again give him 4 points. But I don't think it's going to be enough to take over. I mean, lessen the gap of around 50 points, which Mermaids has with him.
Yeah. So FadiB definitely taking these 29 points on 3 towns is a very good move. But we still think Sprockitz is ahead.
I do think, yes.
And FadiB is not going to come up with a lot of network points here. FadiB has 1 more blue hex that's free, or 2 more blue hexes that are free, it looks like, and can build on both. I would expect that to happen. So FadiB will be at N-5, 13 structures. Fruity Harris probably is more efficient just building trading houses, I think, than fighting for network.
Yes. Every trading house will give him around 5 points.
Yep, these are 5-point trading houses this round. So it looks like the network situation is going to easily resolve. Sprockitz can do whatever he wants on network. 7 workers, 5 power, 2 priests remaining. Yeesh. Well, since Fruity needs to spend these priests as workers,
He's losing Earth.
yeah,
He's losing.
Sprockitz is going to get 32 cult points.
Oh boy. As alchemist.
That's simply ridiculous. And
I
then
still go back to the first move where Alks took the priest rather than the shipping bonus style. I think it kind of gave Mermaids the idea that he should stick to East rather than try to fight Alchemist over territory. So I think that turned out kind of had a good snowball effect for Alchemist that he had free space to build dwellings.
absolutely. So one more time, Fakirs with about 142, 143. FadiB, if FadiB builds 2 more dwellings, the dwellings are not worth any points. So maybe it's just...
Yeah, for him, I'm not sure what is good
So
efficiency.
FadiB can take 1 more trading post probably, and then 1 more dwelling to try to get enough network to take over. It's unclear what Mermaid's best track for, or best path to the most points is here, considering that they're close with engineers for 3rd on network.
So 3rd on network losing would be 6 points, and I think we have established I don't think engineers can close the 50-point gap. So in order for Mermaids to just get more points, would you consider Temple Fire 3 as an option?
Ooh. Well, Sprockitz is going to have 4 keys. I think Sprockitz would not mind even 5 powering a priest to secure fire if FadiB threatens it.
I would agree.
Yeah, so FadiB, if we give him network and 3 points and 6 points on remaining resources and passing, that's 141 plus cults, 149, 150.
Yeah.
So FadiB, we expect will beat Fakirs here. And then
Hope so.
And then Sprockitz, 32 plus 18 endgame points is 50 right there. Has some points remaining in structures, just building the structures themselves, is passing for 9 plus 4, passing for 13. So maybe has 68 points left, plus or minus, which would give him about a 5-point lead over FadiB, I would currently guess.
5-point lead.
Yeah, that's not as high as we thought, huh?
For sure.
And that's just the weak scoring track coming in, I think.
But considering a weak scoring track, that's what I was really surprised about. Considering the really weak scoring track and not having passing bonus styles, scoring 150, like both Fakir, Mermaids, both scoring 150 is kind of...
Zorus is pointing out my ignorance in chat by pointing out there are these 8 town points coming in.
Yes.
So it will be close to 165, as I had predicted long ago.
He has so many workers, coins, priests left. I'm not sure what point efficient things can be done at this point.
I guess the 6 coins are 6 points just because
Exactly.
Sprockitz does need to put more buildings down.
Yeah, he'll build three dwellings, which every dwelling is 2 points, and not losing 2 points to make the point conversion is quite nice for them.
Yeah. Let's see. Does Sprockitz have any free hexes? No.
He has, yes. He's at 3 shipping. I'm pretty sure he can find access. I mean, 3 hexes would be
hexes for sure,
yeah.
But no current blacks open.
Blacks, no, I don't think there's natural blacks available.
So probably going to double dig the northeastern yellow and have a safe black.
I'm not sure if anyone is competing him for any of those.
I mean, that's true. There are definitely 2 safe blues that he can get, or the brown in the southwest. Yeah, there's a zillion options for sure.
I think engineers just took network points from mermaids.
Oh, okay. So engineers are -7 right now, and they can build one more dwelling with converting 3 power to a worker.
Yep.
So they will be -6. So FadiB now needs to build a dwelling to save 3 points. And FadiB doesn't have resources for a trading house, so this was the only option.
Yeah. But he had to do it without getting any dwelling points.
Yeah.
Zora
Zora's pointing out that 4 resources for a dwelling is barely efficient as Alchemist, and that's true. There's just these network points that you can take away by getting to N-2 buildings.
I think Alchemist will stop at after building 2.
Yeah, and just convert the rest of the resources as 2 resources per point.
I would say him digging 2 would just give him more points. Would it give him more points? Yes, I think.
Digging with a worker comes back as 2 power, which is just 1 resource each, so it's net neutral resources to dig. There's not much to mess around now. Like
your worker won't get converted to a point. Your worker won't get converted to a point.
Yeah. Okay, so we think that the outcome of this game is pretty much sealed, right? Sprockitz will have 10 to 12 point advantage over mermaids, will have a 3-point advantage over fakirs, and engineers won't be close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sprocket doesn't follow any guideline or anything. He just thinks so. He has his own strategy head or something. I would have assumed Alchemist taking cards, like full cards.
Yeah,
he has to go up on Earth. I'm pretty sure. I think he's just waiting for engineers to pass.
Well, engineers did manage to get a power priest. I guess still building the dwelling is better than securing Earth. So yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I think he gets, so for that one dwelling he'll get 3 points plus 3 points and 2 for the dwelling. So 5-point dwelling. That's pretty efficient for engineers.
Yep. Well, I guess it's time to look through the Twitch chat to see if there's anything fun going on now that the game is what I would consider over, aside from my own counting mistakes.
Yeah, I'm happy I casted this game. Seeing Alchemist play this way, I'm happy.
We have definitely had a treat of a game here in terms of how to play Alchemists in a at least partially unconventional way.
I won't say partially unconventional. I wouldn't have betted on Alchemist at all looking at the bonus tiles and the scoring track.
Yeah, certainly the cult part of this is extremely unconventional. The placements of buildings is slightly unconventional. The crazy amount of resources to convert to points, that's pretty conventional Alchemist stuff.
Yeah, but trying to aim for all the cards as Alchemist.
I mean, this Rainier's pointing out in the chat right now completely correctly. There's no way Sprockit's planned for this. It's really just taking advantage of other players making mistakes. And
the thinking on the feet is just insane.
Yeah. And that's actually something that I was getting at earlier and didn't finish my thought of, is that while these players are so great, if you try to analyze a Terra Mystica game and see if anyone plays perfectly, no, that's just not happening. If there was a hypothetical perfect computer player of Terra Mystica, Sprockitz, I would guess, made 3 to 5 bad moves here. We just have to accept that as humans, when we play this kind of complex game, everyone's going to make mistakes. And I take this from the chess world. The fewer mistakes you make, the more likely you are to win. Often it's a matter of making the fewest mistakes as opposed to making the most clever or good moves. So something like engineers figuring out this land bridge town, really clever. Lots of cool scoring mechanisms for engineers with stealing a few network points, getting a lot of bridge points, stuff like that. But it's not enough to make up for the mistakes of not getting enough hexes early.
I would agree. I think that's where engineers went into a bit of a ditch that he needed a few more dwellings up
Yeah,
so that he could compete even on network and any of the end game points. Like
right.
he didn't get the spades and he couldn't even get the cults. So I would say it was a tough spot for the engineers to be in.
Yep. So are we going to have a winner's interview? I believe that was the initial plan, but we'll see if Sprockitz is available after this game finishes.
After this,
All right, so it seems like we will have Sprockitz for a post-game interview here. And a lot of Sprockitz' game is, I mean, pretty clear what happened, taking advantage of empty cults and building on the land that was easily available to him. So we'll see what he thinks about the other players setting him up for such a dominant performance here. As we had projected by the middle of round 6, it is a large margin between Sprockitz and FadiB, a small margin between FadiB and zitcob, and another fairly decent margin between zitcob and Fruity Harris here.
so looking at where the points actually came from, I think Alchemist scored 50 points out of the favor tile.
50 favor points. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how many points he converted to mind.
I have to confess that I have not been watching this table. I have just been watching it via the stream, and that's why you were aware of power actions happening before I was. So I don't have the points table in front of me here.
I'm kind of used to the BGA setup, so I think it's easy for me to track what is happening there. Initially, in the start, I was watching the stream, but I don't think it works for me.
Yeah,
well, it has been an honor to cast here. I'm a first-time caster, so I didn't do it. Pretty sure I made a lot of mistakes. And
I mean, Parth, I think you did great. You carried a lot of the conversation here when I was like out of ideas. So I think this worked out great.
Yeah, it was fun. And
yeah, it was a lot of fun for me to cast with you as well. So we will wait to hear. All right, we'll wait to hear about getting an interview with okay, so let's take a closer look at that point breakdown. I'll zoom over to the table on Board Game Arena right now. Let me mute the site and try to find this game. Do you see any other interesting aspects from the breakdown here, stats-wise, Parth?
Yeah, I think so VP, the scoring tile, the round bonuses, victory points. I think Fakir was the one who scored the least, which is 18 points, which is kind of surprised.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was assuming Fakirs would align their buildings more according to the.
So I mean, 18 round tile points. How many of those were round 6 towns?
That's
Zitcob only got 3 points from the track before round 6.
Exactly. If he had scored even a few more points, I think he would have been a good second place there.
Let's say that that's not optimal.
Yeah, and on the contrary, I think the Dwelling Rush worked out for quite a good amount because he scored 40 points, which is even more than what Alchemist scored.
Yeah, 40 round points, 18 favor. I mean, combined, that 58 is quite fine. And then 16 bonus, 29 town. It's a very nice, rounded way of scoring is what FadiB accomplished here. Nothing like Alchemist getting 18 network, 32 cult.
Oh, that just so mind-blowingly satisfactory to look at. Like
it's certainly not. Certainly. All right. And now we have Sprockitz here for the post-game winners interview. Sprockitz, are you there? We are still waiting. Let's see. What else is in this setup?
I'm here.
All right. There we have them. Sprockitz, welcome to welcome to the conversation here. Congratulations on a huge dominant win.
Hello, is he there?
Hello?
Sorry, I opened the stream and I had to mute it, so hopefully you can hear me now without the back.
All right, we can hear you now. Well, welcome. Congratulations on a dominant win here. Anything you'd like to say to start off?
This was a fun game. I really appreciate that everyone played at a reasonable speed, got it done in under 2 hours. And yeah, it was fun to compete. Thanks everyone for organizing this, for casting this. It's been a lot of fun. Encouraged me to play a little bit live, since usually I don't have the time to do that, but I'm glad I've been able to make time.
One question which was there in, I think, everyone's mind: did you plan any of this? Did you plan dominating the cult at any point before round 3 or 4?
Mainly, I wanted to take what was given to me. I really hoped to at least get some workers out of the fire and air cults. That was important to me. The fact that the other cults were pretty much left open I kind of adjusted as the game went on. With the Alchemist Stronghold combined with the landscape tile, that basically it saves you 2 priests, so with the landscape version, it makes it a little easier to compete on cults as alchemists. So I was able to upgrade digging, get shipping to the max, and still be able to win all the cults.
Yep.
Obviously, mermaids with a dwelling rush, that means they're not going to be as competitive on cults. I think they made a minor mistake giving up the 4 points in the last round in order to I think they should have made their 3 towns around earlier. That would have secured them the points, instead of basically took the 7-coin power action to get them 3 extra coins, but gave up 4 points on the cults there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I should have got 32. I think the end game, helping encourage the engineers to beat the mermaids on network was nice, because I gave engineers something better to do than just win the cults. I still don't. I mean,
Yeah,
I could have tied them in the end. So
the last bit of power you gave him kind of got him the network.
Yeah.
So one other thing, going back to your point of taking what was given to you, when you bid on alchemists at 30, where did you think your buildings were going to end up this game? Did you expect them to be typically north, east, and west, or did you even expect to get that second town on the east?
So the last town, the one in the northeast, I kind of had 2 options there. I was either going to go in the south or the northeast, depending on what was given to me. And the northeast seemed the easier route, since the south would have to compete with a few things. With my initial placement, when I bid on Alchemist, my initial placements, I was planning almost certainly for the one in the east. One in the west was probably going to depend. C1 is really nice if mermaids go D2. But since mermaids went E4, I felt I needed to go E5 in order to accomplish any dwellings. I wanted to expand shipping and get the dwellings. That was my plan on round 1 worked out very well.
It sure did.
Since I'm going last, I had to have a few alternatives in case someone grabs the priest right away. But the fact that I was able to get favor 11, which is great for alchemists, as well as still get the priest,
getting your shipping to
perfect.
What did you think about your opponents seemingly actively denying you the passing points tiles?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about it, because really until the last, I did want the shipping bonus tile twice, would have been nice, but the trading post tile I wasn't really worried about, because I never had more than 1 on the board until the end, or maybe I think I had 2 at the end of round 5. But regardless, I felt I could make enough points elsewhere. There wasn't really a lot of competition for towns. In the 5th round, I had I didn't think engineers would do it, but I knew I wanted to take the blue hex in the southeast just to make, because engineers might have taken that over their convoluted town in the south. So I really wanted to ensure I could get that town without needing some funkiness there. And then I decided in round 5 just to finish that off to get the extra cult steps to forego basically the 5 points from the town scoring in the last round to help me try and win at least 3 cults. Ended up being 4, but I figured that trade-off was more than worth it. Plus, there was the slight chance that engineers might hate triple dig that brown spot. I don't think they would have, but
you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you know.
Better safe than sorry when you're already in a leading position.
I think I can speak for myself and most of the Twitch chat. We had a huge audience for most of the game, at least 40 people watching there. I can say for me and them that we found your moves to be very sharp, taking the 2-key town, taking the landscape where you did. Those both ended up much more than paying for themselves compared to the alternatives. So we were all impressed by your play quite a bit.
Thank you.
It was a memorable game. Yep. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I look forward to playing again in another month. I'll have to
congrats.
Do a few more practice games.
Yep.
All right.
Well done.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
And I believe that will wrap up our coverage today. Is that correct? All right. So from me to all the viewers, thank you all for watching. Hope we provided an enjoyable experience for you all. The next game is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, and late night Central European. Parth, do you want to close it out for us?
Yeah, so next game is, I'll be playing in the next game. So, yeah, so it's between Chris Ho, Jesse G, FireX, and me. So I'm looking forward to how how all those players actually play out that game. I think it might be a more learning game for me rather than competing game. But well, you never know.
I mean, given the insights you've provided, I think you'll have quite a good chance at having a solid game there. So
I'm just in for the fun.
And fun you will have.
Yeah.
So thank you all for watching again. And yeah, I think that is it for us. Have a good one, everyone.